Ahoy there, Captain Benzie here, coming at you with another video for Eve Echoes. This time around, I want to talk to you all about trading. That is, of course, selling things on the market. Before we begin, I just want to mention that across the bottom of the screen, you'll see all of my social media. That's things like Patreon, Discord, Twitter, etc. Come join me on those. I'm always happy to have a chat with you guys, find out what's going on in your world. If you've got any requests for future videos, do let me know in the comments section below here. And if you do enjoy this video, hit like, consider subscribing, as I am pumping out Eve Echoes content fairly frequently. Right, let's jump straight into this one. As I said, we're going to have a look at the market. Now, I've been out and about in my Thrasher 2, my beloved Thrasher 2, which actually, before we begin, let's just jump into the fitting, because I've finally crossed the 300 DPS mark, thanks to me now being tier 7 and being able to use the Mark 7 200mm autocannons. Woohoo! This thing packs a punch now. It's amazing. I love it so much. Anyway, so on to the meat of this episode. I want to talk about, as I said, trading. That means going into the market and selling stuff. I've been out and about in my Thrasher 2. If I jump down to the Thrasher 2's hold, which was right at the top, I scrolled past it like a moron. Here we are. You can see I've been doing a couple of bits and pieces, and I've managed to grab some loot, including Minmatar ship debris, Mark 5 ballistic control systems, and a Jolt 720mm howitzer, which I got from a fairly high level combat anomaly. Blew up a ship, blew up a cruiser, and bam, that dropped in the hold. I've equipped it onto my stabber just to see what it was like. I didn't like it. I've popped it back in the ship here so I can show you guys what you do with this kind of stuff. Now, having come back from doing some ratting like this, of course I'm going to hit multi-select, I'm going to tap those three things, and I'm now going to move them to the item hanger of this particular station. Now, of course, as you would guess, this particular station is Maspa 5 Moon 6 DED assembly plant. It is my personal favourite. In order to sell stuff, you're going to need to be in an ITC station. I'm not sure what ITC stands for off the top of my head, but someone I'm sure in the comment section below can let me know on that one, and I'll mention it in a previous video with a big thank you and a shout out. If you're not sure what your nearest ITC station is, tap on Market, and at the bottom you will eventually, once it loads, please forgive my Wi-Fi, there we are, nearby ITC, Maspa 5 Moon 6 DED assembly plant. You can actually do that while you're out and about, like flying through space as well. So if you're in a venture and you've been mining for ores and you're in a completely different system to where you usually are, you can just open up the market there and it'll tell you your nearby ITC. You can actually tap on that and then set it as a destination as well, which is super useful. But anyway, we have now docked at that station. Now, Maspa, of course, is my home station, so I've got plenty of stuff here in the item hanger. But we're going to have a look at those particular items that I was looking at. So first off, let's have a look at that Jolt 720mm howitzer. If you tap on this, you can get all of the details here on what it is and how it works, etc. We've covered this in other videos, but you'll notice here there is a bit that says repackage. If you want to sell something that you've used, you are going to need to repackage it. And if I do that, you'll see now that where it says Jolt 720mm howitzer, it's got the little bit that says it's a medium-high slot, and then below that is the 1, saying that there is just one of these in the stack. Like if you look to the left of it, the Mark 5 720mm howitzer, I've got 5 of. It's got a little square above it with a line through it. That means it is packaged. If it's not packaged, you probably can't sell it, especially if it's like ship parts. So for example, the Mark 5 miner to the right of it, if I tap on that, there's no sell option. If I go back to the Jolt 720, there is now a sell option. But how much is it worth? Well, ultimately, basic rule of economics, something is only worth what people are willing to pay for it, and it's kind of... It's always going to be a juggling act. There, you need to look at how much time and effort it takes to make a certain thing. If you're selling ships, or if you're gathering ores, you know, how long does it take you to find that? What risks are involved? And obviously you need to make a profit on it. Things like this, for example, I could sit there and, as a simple cost analysis thing, I could say, well, if I bought this from a space station in Lowsec for 200,000, I've transported it all the way to Maspa because there's none of them here and I want to sell them at a profit. I need to sell it, obviously, for at least 200,000, but there we go. Easiest thing to do at this point in time, though, is ultimately go to View Market Details, and it'll look it up on the market. Now, typically, on this particular occasion, there is no info. Just to show that in working, let's have a look at a Mark 5 miner. Let's repackage that so that I can have a look at it on the market. And Mark 5 miner, there we are. Look at View Market Details. There should be plenty of these on the market. There we are. So you can see in this particular station, someone else is selling 6 of them at 180,000. Of course, I can therefore sell them at about 180,000, possibly undercutting if I want a quick sell. Now, in regards to the Jolt 720mm howitzers, I'm just going to, as I said, we can't see that there's anything on the market, so I'm going to tap sell. Gives you an idea here of what you want to sell this at. Now, this is a cruiser turret, so, you know, they're not cheap, but at the same time, they're not overly expensive. What I'm going to do to get a better idea in this case, actually, is actually come out of this all, jump into the market, and look at similar turrets. So if I filter my market by, tap on the filter icon here for regional cells, close that down, and now look for, where are we, high slots, should be high slots, high slots, main weapons, go to projectile weapons, and look for small artilleries, medium artilleries, here we are, a Mark V, which is a worse version of this, sells in Masper for around about 224,000. Now, they're a lot cheaper elsewhere, so I do think that 224 is probably too much for one of the, for a Mark V 720. This guy's probably not selling many of those, but I don't really want to sell my Jolt for down at like 25,000, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger than that. So let's jump back into my inventory. Let's find that Jolt howitzer. There we are, the one that is packaged. We're going to hit sell. Have it on the market here. Now, we saw that they were 25,000 for a standard one. I'm going to put this one up for 100,000. I think that's fairly reasonable. I think actually that's probably going to be way too cheap, and that should sell fairly quickly. But there we go. We're going to hit sell, and bam, that is now going to fly off into the market. He says, hoping his Wi-Fi catches up. There we are. Off it goes. Now you'll see that it's taken 5,000 ISK out of my wallet. That's kind of the market taking a little bit of money. It's to deter you from just putting up something super cheap and someone else taking it and, you know, you making a loss on it. So that is now on the market. Let's have a look at some of those other items that I could sell here. And let's go down, because there were some cool bits. Here we are, like the level 4 Minmatar ship debris. I could just sell these, or I can actually hit reprocess on these, and these will make various different things, like, if I scroll up here, contaminated nanites, nanite circuit boards, that kind of thing here, nanite compounds, sorry, smashed trigger units, all these kind of things. Again, this is stuff that you can sell on the market. Same with your ores. If you've got any large chunks of Veldspar, or like here I've got plagioclase, let's reprocess that and it will pump out a whole ton of the minerals that I can sell. For example here, lustering alloy, I've got so many of these, I don't want to be sitting on that many. Let's have a look at how they're selling. So in Masper, they're currently selling for about 70. Elsewhere, they're selling for as little as 40 or 45, but that's a fair, decent whack away. In this case, I'm going to sell all of these, and I'm going to sell these lower than Masper's generic at 55 per unit. And we hit sell, and again, that goes onto the market. All of those are now available for sale and for purchase. This means that if you are to go into the market now, especially if you're near Masper, because it does obviously show the different parts of different areas, and if we then go to manufacturing materials, planetary resources, lustering alloy, you should hopefully, if this is working, and I can see my own, there we are, I've got a whole quantity of 20,075 at 55. If I purchase those, I'm buying them back from myself, which means I'm losing money. Of course, I can also go down here to my orders, and it will show you what I've got available in the store there, and what I am actually selling. Of course, this is all player-driven. That is only players who are going to be buying that off me, and the idea of that whole, it takes a little bit of collateral off you, it takes a little bit of money when you put something up for sale. It's to stop you putting something up, you know, undercutting your opponent. Like, say someone's got an item up for 500,000, you put yours up for 450,000, they then take theirs down and put it up for 449,000, then you take yours down and put it up for 448,000. You're going to be losing money. The idea is to force you to actually think about what you want to do and sell. Now, of course, like everything in EVE, selling obviously is as simple as it is, but there are skills related to it. Now, the skills you will find under social science and under trade. Now, the first and most important of these, obviously, is the trade skill. Training in this, very simply, gives you additional market orders. There are only so many items you can sell at a time. I think the basic is like 5 or 10, somewhere around there. If you want to be selling more, level up the trade skill, and you'll see that ultimately at level 5 of trade, you will get an additional +5 market orders, meaning you can sell, if it's 5 orders you can place normally, it's going to be 10 that you can do. If it's 8 that you can do normally, it'll be 13. I don't remember the basic. I've got +3, and I can't honestly tell you how many I can do. There's a lot of things are missing from Eve Echo's interface, like the ability to find out how many orders I can actually put up. It'll tell me when I hit the maximum, but it won't tell me when I'm one off. Anyway, so that is obviously your basic one there. Once you've got that to 5, you can go into advanced trade, and that will really start racking them up. See there, +4, +8, +12, +16, +20, and then into expert trade, which is a lot of skill point investments, but theoretically 40. If you want to make your money selling things on the market, and you're going to be selling a lot of different things in several small stacks, that's how you're going to do it. Things like accounting, no, not useful at all. It is just really the trade skill that you need there. Logistics management, again, ain't going to help. It is just trade, advanced trade, and expert trade, really, that are going to help you there. Of course, there are other little bits that we can look at. I've come into the wrong menu. If I go into industrial technology, to resource processing, of course, common ore reprocessing means that any ore that you reprocess, you're going to make more of those particular stacks. Like your Veldspar is going to make more titanium, etc. And common ore, special ore, all of those are fairly obvious for those. And when you saw me doing the Minmatar ships into the things like the broken triggers, that's here with scrap metal processing. I don't do much of this at the moment. I'm holding on to it to really do it at a later date. But if that's something you're going to go into making ship parts for rigs, with things like the broken triggers or the nanites and stuff like that, scrap metal processing is what you're going to use there. Scrap metal, advanced scrap metal, and expert scrap metal. Anyway, that kind of, I think, covers everything that I want to talk about in the market. No, there is one other thing, sorry, hold press. There is one other thing, and that is that if you go into the market, this isn't fully integrated properly at the moment, but say, for example, I decide I really want a certain ship. Now I'm going to take off the filter for this and just go to all items. If I say I want a certain ship, like I am ultimately very excited to one day get myself a Hurricane. Are there any on the market? Yes, there are for 235 million. It's a lot of money. I don't have that much. I can put up initiate acquisition here and say, right, I am willing to buy one of these for, say, 200 million. It's a little bit cheaper. If you're willing to sell it for 200 million, come here and buy it off me. I'm not actually going to put this one up seriously, but that is something you theoretically can do. You can see some people here are saying, oh yeah, I'll buy a Hurricane off you for 100 ISK. I don't think that's going to happen, unless you're doing that whole thing of, I've built a ship and I want to give it to a friend. That's a great way to do it. I can go to, if someone wanted to give me a Hurricane for super cheap, I can come in here, I can put up an acquisition order for, say, 1,000 ISK, or a special code like 1337 or whatever. They can come in and they can try and sell me that Hurricane for that amount, which is obviously going to be a lot cheaper than the market value. But yeah, that just about covers everything I do want to say about selling and using the markets in Eve Echoes at the moment. Special thanks to all of you who did request this video. I hope it's answered most of your questions. Again, it's a case of being in an ITC station, repackaging anything that has been fitted to a ship previously, or even ships. So if I go in just quickly, I can do a ship hangar here. I could, for example, repackage one of my Rifters and then sell that on. And then how to sell it on the market and which skills you will need to do so effectively. Other than that, that really does wrap up everything I wanted to say here, so I hope you found that useful. Let me know in the comments section below how you're getting on with selling things. Let me know if you've got any other video ideas you want to see in the future. Otherwise, happy sailing, and see you in New Eden.